So this is the gas station, and the line of cars goes as far as I can see. Yeah. It's about $6 a gallon. They can only get $30 worth, so they get about 5 gallons when they get in line again.
Complimentary, yes. All paid for, you don't have to pay anything.
Drinks all on me.
What the boats look like. There's another one that'll probably get filled up later. This is quite wide river here above the falls.
Very, very good afternoon to you all.
Thank you.
You are welcome to the mighty Zambesi River. In particular, welcome to World Horizon Boat Cruises. My name is Lake. I'm a skipper this afternoon in Namibia.
Starts
in front of the vessel, that's our upstream. In the other direction, this way, that's our downstream. The river flows through the spectacular chasm, one of our 7 natural wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls. From the us to the mouth is 2,700 kilometers. Being the 4th longest river in Africa, after the River Nile, Congo, Niger, Zambezi is number 4.
You'll find as the story progresses, and the iconic Victoria Falls Hotel opened her doors to tourism and trade. Now you think is one of the few statues of a colonial that is left standing. Most statues have been taken down, put into museums for various political and social reasons, but not David Livingstone, because the people still love and respect him. Beginning. He was born in 1813, one of 7 children, into a poor working class family. 7 kids sleeping on the floor of a 1-bedroom apartment adjoining a cotton spinning mill in the village of Blantyre in Scotland. And because of his religious background, he decided to join the London Missionaries Society. And from Cape Town, he trekked on foot 500 miles north into the northwestern Cape to a place called Kurumantis. He was attacked and mauled by a lion, Botswa. And they were there for 10 years. And you know what? They did not convert a single person to Christianity. 2 reasons. The tribe's people were sand bushmen, nomadic hunter-gatherers, never in one place at any time. And secondly, he had become more obsessed with exploring. The great Zambesi River. What about putting boats on the Zambesi and resupplying Linyanti from either the west coast, the Atlantic, which would be preferable because it's closer to Europe, or the east coast? But he had no idea which way this river flowerific thing. That map was totally inaccurate. He was 750 miles away from the west coast.
Oh my God.
On the 16th of November 1855, he woke up, and downstream he could see this huge cloud. Unfortunately, you can't see it this afternoon, it's too hazy. Right. He thought it was a bushfire. But the fisherman he was staying with said to him, that's not a bushfire. That cloud is Moziotunya, the smoke that thunders. Moziotunya is the proper word for this waterfall. So he wrote poems. Scenes so wonderful they must have been gazed upon by angels in their flight. And he named the waterfall after his queen, Queen Victoria. Indeed, navigable with the exception of the Victoria Falls. He camped at the mouth of the Zambesi for a month, waiting for a ship to take him back to England. We addressed the Royal Geographical Society, a prestigious society of explorers based in London. He was even invited to Buckingham Palace to address Queen Victoria herself. He sat down and wrote his first book, Missionary Travels and Researches of Southern Africa. It was published in October 1857. 12,000 copies was sold as soon as it left the printing press. It became an instant bestseller. He wanted to go back to the Ruvuma River and find out more about the slave trade and try and get it liberated. This time he ended up on the island of Zanzibar, situated just off the east coast of Africa, further north from the Zambesi and Ruvuma estuaries. And there he befriended their Sultan, Sultan Syed. Zanzibar was being ruled by the Arabs from the Sultanate of Oman. And while he was staying in Stone Town, the capital, he realized that Stone Town on Zanzibar was the very place where all these coffles of slaves were ending up at. What a wonderful thing to have said, Dr. Livingstone, I presume, but what a stupid thing to say. Go and find Livingstone. Because if he could be the first to publish the true story, he'd make a huge amount of money out of newspaper sales. And Stanley did just that. Bought the best clothing for his porters. They carried the finest camping equipment and supplies. They even carried a huge copper bath. So that I need to continue my journey to find the source of the Nile. But he was very clever. In his journal, he kept duplicated copies of every one of those 44 letters. Wilberforce Act that had been tabled by his grandfather, Wilbert Wilberforce, that had ended the American slave trade, was passed. Warships were sent out to Zanzibar. The island was blockaded. Sultan Syed surrendered, liberated the slave trade forever. But, sadly, he was never, ever aware of that fantastic success. He had sailed down the length of Lake Tanganyika to its southern shore, situated in present-day Zambia. And there he was reunited with his beloved Makalolo porters, his two head porters, Susi and Chuma. And he told them that he had sent Stanley off with the letters, and he must now entirely concentrate on looking for the source. Nearby is this vast swamp, called the Bangwelu Swamps. And these Bangwelu Swamps drain into a river that flows from the south to the north. The Nile flows from the south to the north. All our other major rivers in Africa flow west-east or east-west. So they ventured into these swamps. It was April 1873. Chuma went to receive their further marching orders. And there in the dim lamplight of the hut, they could see him kneeling, with his elbows on his bed and his hands clenched against his forehead in prayer. They left him in peace. Now they had huge respect for him, for what he had done with Stanley, and more importantly, what he was trying to achieve for their Makalolo tribe. And their tribal belief was, you cannot bury somebody away from the land of your birth, because your spirit will wander aimlessly and never ever rested. They then gathered together 12 volunteers, and they were now about to conduct the longest funeral procession in living memory, who conducted a post-mortem and realized it was actually David Livingstone because of the 3 healed breaks in his left arm from that lion attack 30 years previously. He was given a state funeral, buried at Westminster Abbey in London. Buried
Big herd of hippos.
You know they're called? They make that noise.
Moving on from the hippos, we're headed downstream towards the falls. Beautiful sunset on the Zambesi River.
My baby, don't fear my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. She used to say, I am the best, but now she's gone, don't know what to do. Oh.